Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 2 of All the Things podcast. Today we're going to go on about Formula 1 and some other things because that's the whole point of this podcast. But basically, I'm going to go on about Nicholas Latifi because, well, I'm watching a video here on YouTube just as I was going to record this. And it's about Nicholas Latifi. I actually thought it was about Lance Stroll because you know what he's like. I don't know why Williams hire the most shittest drivers though. Like, we've had Logan Sargent and he got sacked for being shit because, well, makes sense. And now we got this guy. At least he's not in the car now. We've got Franco Colapinto. I mean, Franco's pretty good at driving. He's just cost Williams a couple of mil. With, to be fair, that crash that he had in Brazil wasn't that bad because, well, in fairness, it was pretty wet was the track. Surprised he didn't call off qualifying on Sunday, to be fair. It was that wet. There were like 5 red flags in it. Don't know why I keep going on about Brazil, but it was such a great weekend. I mean, I still don't know why they call Nicholas Latifi the GOAT, because, like, he's always crashing and it's stupid that they call him the GOAT. I mean, he's a GOAT at crashing. I mean, when they say that you have to be consistent in Formula 1, they don't mean consistently shit. Oh shit, Nicholas Latifi just crashed on this video I'm watching for like the 500th time that he's crashed in his little pathetic career. Oh, and then we had Mazepin. I remember Mazepin. Mazepin decided to crash as well in that race. I mean, some people called him Mazepig, so, you know, kind of rude, but he was a bit of a shit driver. This isn't because he was Russian. Just that he was not a very good driver at all. He used to crash a lot and really... Well, then they sacked him because of the Ukraine war or whatever. Suppose that was a little bit political. And then, present day, well, recently there was a thing with Haas where they had to pay off the sponsor from that year because they didn't pay him all the money and got rid of him when Russia invaded Ukraine, apparently. But I suppose... Well, they've sorted that out now. I swear Nicholas Latifi caused that Abu Dhabi 2021 controversy, like where the race director got sacked because the FIA had a complete nervous breakdown because he bent a couple of rules. I swear he's still in witness protection or something. Kinda cool. Well, not really cool. Not cool, he's in witness protection because everyone wants to kill him because it cost Lewis Hamilton his 2021 championship to Maxipad, which is sort of controversial. Brought in the safety car a lap too early and didn't let the procedure finish, which was a little bit wrong. Okay, I've just seen another crash of Latifi. So the two window lickers decided to crash into each other in Australia. Lance Stroll and Latifi crashing into each other. I mean, the OG window licker caused it, but still. And then the bastard got kicked out of the car, which was for the best, because he was causing absolute chaos. Ah, there we go, it's 2021 Abu Dhabi, which was controversial. Because of someone called Michael Massey. Because he likes causing chaos. To be fair, there was a cops crash between Hamilton and Verstappen. There was the 2021 Abu Dhabi controversy. The 2021 season was chaos, but really, really good. I mean, now we just have Verstappen that wins everything and Hamilton that's literally near the back of the field, which is sort of crazy when you think about how it used to be. And then Latifi brought out the safety car, which caused him to lose the World Championship. That sounded wrong. Not Latifi would lose the championship, I mean Hamilton. Which was stupid. I'm sure Michael Massey wanted to change the World Championship, though. And it was just because of Nicholas Latifi. And then he let not all of the lapped cars, but some of them in between Hamilton and Verstappen overtake the safety car, which was like the biggest rule bend I've ever seen. No, Michael, no, that was so not right.
That started with controversy is ending with controversy.
No, Mikey, no, Mikey, that was so not right.
Such an iconic moment. It's called the motor race, okay? That was like the most savage moment of Michael Massey I've ever heard of.
Toto? Yes. It's called a motor race, okay? Sorry? We went to car racing.
I don't know how he could even have the balls to say that to him. And then Team LH, the mental lunatics, had a complete meltdown, and the Verstappen shaggers decided to, well, have a little bit of fun, take the piss out of them, because you know how it is. And then there were a little argument at the FIA, they sacked Michael Massey, job done, they dismissed the protest against it, and it's still gone Dutch. There's a World Championship, and now they've just sacked another race director, the guy who replaced him, because he bent the rules a slight little bit with the red flags. I think it was in Brazil. And in my opinion, the FIA president is a bent bastard. He's always bending the rules and sacking people just because they fell out, which, in my opinion, shouldn't be a thing. Shouldn't be allowed to just sack people because they fell out. I suppose that's what happens though when you put a billionaire in the FIA president's seat. Pretty much does what he wants, and he's not going to be leaving anytime soon, I don't think. In my opinion, they should make Sebastian Vettel the FIA president. Vettel for FIA presidency in 2026 when they get the new cars. It was so cool. Also, in my opinion, the street circuits are absolute shit, and they should bring back the actual circuits, but they're not going to do that. They're just going to go all street circuits one day. I'm sure of it. I mean, we have Silverstone until like 2032 or something. No, it might be 2038. I think it's 2038. Silverstone's going to stay on the F1 calendar, which is decent. Although that'll probably be the only actual circuit that exists, because they're getting rid of Circuit de Barcelona, de Catalunya, I think it's called. I think it is. But yeah, they're getting rid of it and making a Madrid half like street circuit, half actual circuit sort of concept thing. Don't know how that's going to work, because, well, they'll only be able to use when F1's on, because of how it is. Because half of it will be shut and open to the public. Well, yeah, half of it will be shut and half of it will be open to the public. Obviously not when the F1 race is on, though. The Canadian Grand Prix circuit, Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, decent circuit, but that's a street circuit, actually, it turns out. I mean, it does look like a street circuit, in fairness. Technically, the Australian Grand Prix circuit's a street circuit as well, because it's around a park. Well, it's sort of not a street circuit, it sort of is, because it's like closed roads in a park, so I suppose it could be argued that it isn't a street circuit. But anyway, moving on along from the F1 races, we're going to talk about... I don't actually know what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about more F1, but something else. Well, let's talk about the Las Vegas Grand Prix. The fact that the FIA is... Well, not FIA, it's probably FOM who's come up with the fact of these pedestrian bridges that go over the track. Why don't we put up some metal, like, barriers so the people who can't afford the tickets can't get to see the race free on the bridges? To be fair, they probably have a bit of a point because of safety and that, but yeah, they've probably spent more on that metal, the metal barriers, and they were probably lost from letting people watch the race for free instead of buying tickets, which is stupid in my opinion. I'm surprised that Red Bull haven't sacked Perez yet because of all the stupid stuff he's done over the past season or two. To be fair, this season he has done quite a few stupid things. He's crashed like loads and cost Red Bull like 4 or 5 mil. That crash in Monaco was the biggest I've ever seen on TV though. Like, it was stupid. And it was all Magnussen's fault. Now he's disappeared. Although he's on like 0 penalty points because he got banned from a race. The FIA also did something stupid for that crash in Monaco. Basically, they didn't penalise him and call it a racing incident. I mean, if he would have got penalised for that, he would have got a racing ban, but, you know, it's the FIA at the end of the day. They pretty much do what they want. Half the time they don't penalise people, half the time they do. And Verstappen gets away with a lot of stuff. But recently he got 20 seconds in Mexico for obvious, stupid, dangerous driving infringement against Lando Norris, or Pando Porris. F1's such a good sport though, and recently it's got really decent with all the new drivers, well not new drivers, but all the different drivers who's won a race this season. Last year Red Bull were one race off winning the whole season, which is crazy to think about. It's not that long since, and Red Bull's dominance has dropped off. Although I think they're back now because, well, Verstappen won the last race in Brazil, which is kind of crazy to think. It's like the longest streak they haven't won a race like ever after last year's dominance. I mean, Perez did win a couple of races. Perez hasn't won anything in ages. I mean, he's crashed a lot and done some stupid things, but I suppose that's Perez. Still surprised they haven't sacked him though. I know I've already said this, but yeah. Moving on to some more Formula 1 business. We're going to go on about some other dominances. I mean, McLaren's pace has been like stupidly quick versus the Red Bulls recently. They've won quite a few races. I remember Lando Norris's win in Miami. It was a decent win actually. I don't know what it is, my voice sounds like shit on the recording, but I suppose this is my voice, I can't really do anything about it. So thanks if you've watched this far. Not watched, listened I mean. But yeah, thank you. Now let's make you cringe with some shit like F1 themed jokes. Why did the F1 racer get electrocuted after one lap? Because he completed the circuit. I don't know why I'm laughing, it's like a shit joke, but I suppose it's a joke at the end of the day. Okay, another shit joke for you. What do you call a sad F1 race? A tear track. I don't even get that. I'm not gonna lie. What's an F1 driver's favourite meal? Fast food. Oh my god, these are shit. Why did the F1 driver stay cool? Because he had a lot of fans. I can't even laugh at that. It's so incredibly shit. Oh my god. What do you call an F1 race in the desert? A dry Grand Prix. Oh my god. Anyway, moving on from the shit jokes that I just told you. Sorry if you cringed a little bit. Those pretty shit jokes, to be fair. But yeah, I'm going to go on about how the fact that it's snowing outside, like literally, it's actually snowing like proper bad outside here in the UK. Hopefully, well, I don't want to get snowed in, because last time we got snowed in, the power went off. And if the power went off, I couldn't do the podcast, so you wouldn't be able to listen to me talk about random stuff like F1 and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know what to talk about. I'll think of something and I'll come back to you. In fact, I've got one more joke for you. Why was the F1 car so crappy at races? It was running up shit tyres, not slicks. What? That's AI for you. I just asked ChatGTP to make some random jokes that I could tell you, but I'm not going to use any of these, just a complete shit. However, I do have a joke about Ferrari strategy that ChatGTP got me. It's, why did the F1 team always bring extra pants to the race? For when they shit the bed on strategy. That's so Ferrari for you though. Like, they're absolute shit at strategy, they're always messing things up. It's crazy. Anyway, moving on from the shit jokes I've just told you. I know I said this last time, but I'll actually move on now. Let's move on to some other Formula 1 business and see some of the stuff that's going on in the F1 world and how the grid's changing. But let's do that. I'll just do some research before I speak to you. Breaking news for you. Red Bull scrapped the 2024 Las Vegas Grand Prix livery that we're going to put on for the race to save weight. Not like a little bit different design to what they usually have. It's going to add much more weight. They probably just don't want to put the livery on. Not like if they put Checo in the car, which is a little bit more heavy, is going to finish any further forward. They'll probably finish like 15th like usual. It's about right for Checo these days. He's not being very fast recently. Just a little bit off topic for you, but here in the UK we've got a 15-hour storm, 15-hour snowstorm coming towards us, and it's snowing quite heavily outside, so I don't know whether this will actually get up, because there might be a power cut. There was the last time there was like a massive storm. I mean, it's 0 degrees outside, and it says it's raining or snowing outside, but I don't know. I guess we'll see. I guess I'll update you tomorrow, or whenever the next time I do the podcast. But yeah, let's get back to the Formula 1 business. In my opinion, F1 2020 is like the best F1 game that you can actually play. And I've actually got a copy of it on the Xbox, so might do a little bit of a recap video this year or next year. Sometime anyway. So just a little bit of an update for you if you got this far. Listening to the I always say podcast wrong, I don't know why. I'll just leave that in. But yeah. And the Australian Grand Prix 2023 is like the best race. Well, not really the best race. There was 3 red flags in it, the most in F1 history, but it was a decent race. Lots of chaos. It was like a proper Formula 1 spectacle, which you don't get very many of these days because of Verstappen's dominance. And to be fair, McLaren's dominated quite a bit of this season. Bit of breaking news here, I've just seen it on YouTube. It's like 5 days before I recorded this, but the CEO of Liberty Media, the company that owns Formula 1, or Formula 1's rights, Greg Maffei, is to step down. So that's a little bit of a breaking news story for you. Although Liberty doesn't really have anything to do with F1. It's more FOM and the FIA that you hear more of. But Liberty Media do own the rights to Formula 1, so I suppose it's sort of a bit of a breaking news story. But anyways, let's talk about like some crashes or something. Maybe like Lance Stroll's performances over the past 7 years or 8 years or however long he's been in F1. Yeah, that was a complete meme of the F1 TV director. You have been strolled. It was like a thing at the Monaco Grand Prix where they showed a replay of him while there was an actual decent like battle going on the track. Lance Stroll's comedic timing is like the best though. I forget what race it was, but his engineer basically asked him, can you stay out in the conditions because it was really wet? 2 seconds later he twats it into the barrier. After he said yes to him as well. His comedic timing is like world class. It's stupid. Then he crashed into Vettel, which was actually stupid. Like, why? It was a cooldown lap as well. Then this year in China he decided to crash into the back of Daniel Ricciardo, which was extremely stupid as well. Oh, and then there was that legendary time when he ran into his pit crew. Well, he ran into the guy who was at the front and knocked him over, which was incredibly stupid. Not to mention the fact his performance in Monaco, where he did all that stupid shit as well. I mean, he literally crashed into like 3 barriers, 3 corners. Then Nicholas Latifi attempted to overtake him in Australia, and he crashed into him. Killed the king. Go Tifi. Rest in peace, the king. I mean, if it weren't for his dad, he wouldn't even be in F1, to be fair. And then there was that crash in Singapore that he did. And then this year in Saudi Arabia, he decided to twat it into the barriers halfway through the race. I mean, why is this guy even in F1? Like, seriously. I mean, he's done something stupid like every other race. He hasn't done anything stupid in ages, to be fair. But he has done lots of stupid stuff. But yeah, that's an overview for you of the window licker's lack of spatial awareness about the things around him and the fact that he just crashes into everything. And he gets away with it because his dad owns the team. I mean, the only reason he's in F1 is because his dad bought him through the lower tiers of F1. The lower formulas, I mean. Which is stupid. I mean, the system is literally fake. The system doesn't stop rich arseholes like him from getting into F1. Because, I mean, that's where he is. I mean, he smashes the car to pieces every other race. Just mind-boggling the fact that he's even in F1. I'm going to be honest. Right, moving on from everything else that I've talked about recently, let's talk about Mazepin. Nikita Mazepin, that Russian F1 driver that was racing for Haas in like the 2020 season or something, and then he got sacked for obvious reasons, because he's like a Russian alternative of Lance Stroll, doing some very stupid things over his very, very pathetic short career. Pretty sure it was a similar story to how Lance got into F1 as well. He like bought his way in. His dad was some rich Russian billionaire and he bought his way into the sport. Sounds familiar. Antonio Giovinazzi in Q1 at Imola, he got very angry at him for his stupid overtake. Then Perez even got angry at him, which was stupid. I mean, he stands up to his name, Nikita Mazepin. Even Kimi Raikkonen got angry at him because of the stupid thing he did in the pit lane in Barcelona. Jesus Christ, even Stroll got angry. Jeez. Although Stroll pretty much takes after him. Or it might be the other way around where Mazepin takes past. He takes like after the window licker's lack of spatial awareness. And then Toto complains to, what was his name? Michael Massey at the time. Very long time ago. The guy who caused the 2021 Abu Dhabi controversy. Already talked about this earlier in the podcast. That's a funny one. More spins than the letters in the alphabet. That's what this guy just said on Daily Fuel Up. I mean, I'm pretty sure he replaced Grosjean. Did Nikita Mazepin. He replaced Grosjean after that 2020 Bahrain crash. That one where the car split in half after going through the barrier. And that was caused by, what's his name? I've completely forgot his name. His name's gone out of my head. I'll come back in a few seconds when I remember his name. Danny Kvyat, can't say his name. I'll put a Google Translate version on for you.
Danny Kvyat.
I suppose it was slightly Grosjean's fault and slightly
Danny Kvyat.
fault, but sorry about that. I just can't say his name like at all. Danny Kvyat. Oh, I don't actually know how you say it. Apologies. I should know how to say it, but I don't. But yeah, it was a racing incident. I suppose it was a bit of a racing incident. Grosjean sort of cut across him. So in a way it was sort of Grosjean's fault as well. I suppose at the end of the day these things happen, so... But yeah, that was the end of Grosjean's Formula 1 career. I think he's racing in not NASCAR, IndyCar. It's like an American version of Formula 1. So he's doing alright for himself. Although in fairness, Formula 1 in this century is a little bit Americanised anyway. I mean, it is owned by an American company. That's Liberty Media. The one where the CEO stepped down recently. So, yeah. I mean, a couple of years since, F1 didn't even want to race in America. Now there's 3 races. You've got the Texas Grand Prix, which is the United States Grand Prix. You've got Miami. It's around the Hard Rock Stadium, which is kind of crazy. Forget what it's called. It's around a park. And you've got the Las Vegas Grand Prix, which is next weekend from recording this. I mean, if you're watching this in the future, it's probably over. I wonder who's won. It might be Max, it might be Norris. Might be a Ferrari win as well. Just really depends on what happens in qualifying in the race. Or whether there's a drain cover fault again, like there was last year, which caused Leclerc's car to explode pretty much. He got a grid penalty for that, which is disgusting, to be quite honest.
Disgusting!
Like, the FIA should have not done that, but they gave him a penalty, although it was a track safety fault, which they didn't spot, which caused it, which is ridiculous. Disgusting that they gave him a penalty. But as the stewards say, they don't have any rules which allows them to not give them penalties. They've got to follow the rule book. At the end of the day, they've got a rule book to follow and they've got to follow it. This meme is perfect for the FIA, let's be honest.
Are you crazy? Are you out of your mind?
Just found this on my instance when I was looking for memes for this podcast, like see if there's any memes that I could put in the background that would fit with the sort of Formula 1 storyline which this podcast episode has.
Emotional damage!
I thought I'd add that in because why not? Doesn't really fit, I just felt like putting it in. So, I guess there you go. Anyway, let's stop pissing about and get back to the Formula 1 business. I don't know what to talk about, to be honest. There's quite a lot to talk about with Formula 1, but I've talked about quite a lot in this podcast. Let's talk about some new Netflix shows which are on the charts this week in the UK. Let me bring up the Netflix tab though so I can talk about them first. See what the Jake Paul on there Mike Tyson fight was completely pathetic. They paid him more actually, it turns out, to lose against him than to win, which is disgusting. It was literally rigged was the whole thing. It's a good job I didn't stay up until like 4 o'clock in the morning to watch that here in the UK. Let's pause the audio because for some reason it was playing random things. It's quite some good new stuff on here. Oh, they put Megan, you know that like weird robot creepy thing on Netflix now apparently. Might watch that one later. Bodyguard, I've already watched that. That's an old BBC show from like 6 years ago. It was quite good. I've watched Lucifer and Stranger Things. It's sort of Americanised. And SWAT. SWAT's like this. It's like Special Weapons and Tactics. It's basically American police, but like military. It's not really military, but it's like this team that has lots of guns and stuff, and they go and help when the actual police can't do what they're meant to, or they need backup from like specially trained people. Quite a good show. It like shows you behind the scenes of what would happen, although sometimes it's not realistic. Oh, and I forgot to mention we've got a new Squid Game coming on the 26th of December. So the Squid Game storyline and plot thickens. Because apparently there's rumours, spoiler alert by the way guys, if you don't want to hear any spoilers, skip ahead. But basically, well you know Squid Game, if you've probably seen it already, it's like this show where there's 456 people, is it, that visit this island, which is where they do these games, for a massive prize pool. But last time, like, the frontman, the guy who's literally running it, basically, his brother's a cop, and he came onto the island and found out it was him, but he got shot and, like, went off the cliff. But I think he's survived that and gone back to the mainland and got some backup to come to the island and shut down the Squid Game, like, operation, which is cool. It's going to be a decent Squid Game too. What else do we have on here? Oh, they've added Kingsman the Secret Service. Kingsman, that. It's like the MI5 in the UK. It's basically like spies, but it's like secret. That's quite an old film now, actually. It's like this guy called Eggsy who basically becomes a spy after he got into trouble. But his dad, Eggsy's dad, used to work for the spy organisation, and he got killed in action. And then this spy guy came to his house and gave the kid Eggsy, which was like really old. Well, no, not really old, really young, I mean. He gave him like this number to call if he got into trouble. And he got into trouble and he called the number. And that's when he started like meeting him. Then they went to the pub and a couple of pints, you know. Bit of a British thing really, is that. Wait, what? Cobra Kai is #1 on the top 10 TV programmes right now. I think there's a new Formula 1 film as well. It's called Rush. Well, I don't think it's new, but I don't think I've seen it, put it that way. But yeah, there's quite a few new films on Netflix. Extraction's another good film. It's like this war film. I'd recommend you watch it. Watch these if you haven't seen them already. Hitman's on here as well. Is that the original one? I want the details of it, not the actual film. Of course, Paul versus Tyson is literally the top thing they're advertising right now, though. Formula 1 Drive to Survive. That's my number one to watch sort of thing. I'd recommend watching it if you like watching Formula 1 business. Manifest is also a decent programme. It's like this plane that disappeared years since and then it reappeared years later. It's a decent one. The Night Agent, that came out, I think it was last year. It's another very decent TV programme. It's like this guy inside the White House, this agent, which sits by a phone every night. And then he goes on like night watch. And then some things happen. I'd recommend you watch it. I don't want to spoil that one for you because that's like a really decent programme. I'm still working on the F1 Bahrain 2025 soundtrack. I've made quite a decent first song. It's on SoundCloud if you want to have a little preview. Or if you want to have like exclusive access to all the songs before they get released to like the general public, you can subscribe to me on Patreon. It's Elliot Bradbury, you'll find me on there somewhere. But yeah, that's the end of episode 2 of the podcast. I'm going to do this one a little bit shorter. But the Las Vegas Grand Prix is next weekend, and I'll do like a little race review podcast episode. I might do some episodes in between then. I might go and try and do like one a day. Won't always be one a day because I've got lots of stuff to do, like plan the videos and stuff like that. But thanks for watching episode 2 of the podcast if you got this far. Thank you and goodbye.